This is the first of 5 short videos reviewing basic geometry. In this video, our focus will be on some key definitions. To start off, let's define a line segment, and a ray. A line is a straight row of points that goes on forever in both directions, as indicated by the arrow on each end. There's a sample point or two for our line. Now, in contrast, a line segment is a piece of a line with 2 endpoints. In other words, it's bounded on both ends, so it does not continue indefinitely in either direction. Finally, a ray has 1 endpoint, and then it extends forever in the other direction. So there are some examples visually of line segment, and ray. Now, a few more helpful definitions regarding lines. If 2 lines cross, they are called intersecting lines. So here I have a red line and a blue line, and these could be called intersecting lines because they cross. A special case of intersecting lines would be perpendicular lines. So 2 lines are perpendicular if they intersect to form a right angle. We're going to define a right angle formally on another slide, but basically it's an angle that measures 90 degrees. So if I have my red line here going straight up and down, I would need my blue line to be going straight left and right in order to form a 90-degree angle between these 2 lines. Often we indicate a 90-degree angle with the little square in the corner. Finally, 2 lines are parallel if they never intersect. A classic example would be railroad tracks. So if I had my red line here, my blue line really has to have the same slope as that line to be parallel. So those 2 lines will never cross. Finally, let's talk about what happens when we put 2 rays together. So an angle is made up of 2 rays with a common endpoint called a vertex. If I have one ray, shown here in red, and I draw a ray in blue that shares that same endpoint, and maybe it heads off that direction, we have just formed an angle. Now the measure of the angle will be a measure of the angle between those 2 rays. So we have 4 additional definitions that help us understand angle measures. An angle is acute if it measures less than 90 degrees. So for example, this angle here would be acute because the angle measures less than 90. A right angle measures exactly 90 degrees, like we saw in defining perpendicular lines. So in this case, 90 degrees often again is indicated with our little square in the corner. An angle is obtuse if it measures more than 90 but less than 180. So a little bigger angle. Let's say my first ray is there, my second ray is there, and now the measure is again more than 90 but less than 180. Last but not least, an angle is straight if it measures exactly 180 degrees. So this is just going to feel too like a straight line. Again, the measure would be 180 degrees. I'll put the endpoint in there so we feel the 2 rays. So again, an angle is just made up of 2 rays, and then we have these definitions regarding the measure of our angles. So let's look at one more aspect of angles, and this has to do with angle relationships. So 2 angles are complementary if their measures add to 90 degrees. So for example, an angle measuring 30 degrees would be complementary to an angle measuring 60 degrees. So let's try one more here, where we're asked to find the complement of 42 degrees. So basically, this means find the angle that you have to add to 42 to get to 90. Or said another way, take the final sum of 90 and subtract one part of that sum, which is 42, and what's left will be the complement. So I can show a little borrowing here. 10 minus 2 is 8, 8 minus 4 is 4. So in this problem, the complement of 42 degrees would be 48 degrees. Finally, we can also define supplementary angles as two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. So these two angles add up to 180 degrees. An example of that could be 120 degrees and 60 degrees because they add to 180. So let's find the supplement of 42 degrees. Now, rather than subtracting 42 degrees from 90 degrees like we did to find the complement, we need to subtract from 180 degrees. So 180 minus 42. Again, we can do a little bit of borrowing if we're working by hand. So 10 minus 8 is 2, 7 minus 4 is 3, carry down our 1. So the supplement of 42 degrees is 138. Hopefully this helps. There is another video, several more videos, so check them out.